So immediately, the Internet Society Nepal chapter had started this initiative, Reconnect Nepal, immediately after the earthquake. And we had some ground experience, but at the same time, we wanted to contribute it to be a lesson in the future also, so that we can learn from this experience. And in between, we had a collaboration with the Alliance Asia, and with the Alliance Asia, we did a research here that was assessment of Nepal's internet and telecommunication damage and losses, lessons learned from the 2015 earthquake. And Mr. Duan, who was here earlier as a speaker, a senior research fellow from Alliance Asia, he was here, and we met all the stakeholders. And based on those interview, FGD, and some of the visit to the local level visit in the earthquake zone in Dading, in Chautara, we prepared a report. And today we are going to launch that report, and I'd like to request our chief guest to unveil the report. So I request volunteers to present the report to our chief guest. Mr. Duan, we would like to request you also to come forward, as you are the person who makes this report happen. We believe that this will be a very useful resource for framing the future policies regarding earthquake, and especially information and telecommunication management. Now, I'd like to request our chief guest, Vice Chairman, National Planning Commission, Dr. Yubaraj Khatiwada, for his deliberation.
Thank you very much, Chairperson of this closing session, distinguished colleagues in the dais, and participants from different countries, ladies and gentlemen. My pleasure to join you in this closing session. I heard a lot about the Internet Society contributing to the post-disaster recovery and rehabilitation activities, how you are instrumental to search and operate, to operationalize the whole rescue operations. But today, I got the opportunity to launch the formal book on this. I have not yet read the book, but definitely that will shape our way to our future disaster management strategies. Nepal is a country with so many possibilities of disasters, from earthquake to flood to drought to landslides, to name a few. And the loss of mankind or humanity out of those disasters have been immense. The frequency of disaster have also gone up. If we just forget earthquake, the frequency of disasters in other areas are really increasing. So thanks to the climate change, which is creating a lot of flash floods and then droughts and other kind of implications coming from these climate change conditions. The threat of glacier meltdown and several other disasters are still hanging above our head. So while we are working to prevent the disasters. At the same time, we are also developing our capacity to cope with it, to adapt the changing situation, and propose the mitigating measures. And use of ICT for that is, I would say, a very important step. I only have now the experience of using internet in our post-disaster beneficiary identification survey, whereby we have been able to get the real-time information on the victims of the earthquake, particularly their houses and their assets and their belongings. And thanks to internet, the connectivity that we have been able to report even from the remote areas, the information about the damages, and that comes into our central information system. That has very much eased our reconstruction activity, particularly the housing activity, because we have been proposing to provide housing grant to the households who are adversely affected by the earthquake, but we don't know exactly what is the severity of the damage. And now the survey, and that could be done in a relatively fast way, is helping us to really identify the degree of damage and the true beneficiaries of the proposed support program. So I think this we can institutionalize, and we can make use of this kind of mechanism for other surveys. I'm trying as Vice Chair of the National Planning Commission to see that other surveys are also conducted using this kind of internet or ICT facility. Particularly our surveys, household surveys, living standard surveys, industrial surveys, or many other surveys, they take not only months but years before the data are compiled and they come to dissemination. And sometimes as the data come for policy making, some of these facts have already become redundant and we have to start another survey. This is simply because the previous trend didn't allow us to get the real-time information and get the compilation facilities in an earlier time. So now, with this, not only the mechanism to cope with the disaster has become more easier, but also the surveys and other kind of interventions that the government wants to make through survey of the real beneficiaries is critical. We are also trying to use this internet facilities in different other services. Having served the central bank for 5 years as governor, I truly knew the importance of internet and online banking when the central bank building had collapsed out of the earthquake. Our bank accounts, the ledgers and books were all under the rubble, but still we ran the bank. Simply because we had gone for this general ledger system automated, we had this online banking system, and we had the server in a building which fortunately didn't collapse. So the very next day earthquake was, there was a disruption of few hours, but we resumed the payment system. And this is how the ICT helps us to recover and to restart the business. But having said that, we still need to have some strong business recovery plans. Our ICT infrastructure is weak, I know. Our ICT legislations are weak and enforcement is weak, I know. I do remember my friend Khatiwada, the Bangladesh governor, how he had to lose his job simply because some fraudulent people had the money from his bank account in New York. So pity of that. We never know what happens to such fraudulent activities. We always trust on the kind of codes and then the passwords that we use in our big transactions. billions of dollars of transactions take place through these systems. But if they are not safe and secure, perhaps everybody could be a victim of these fraudulent activities, including like the one I'm mentioning, the ex-governor of Bangladesh. So, as we have the challenges, we should also be having our capacity to cope with them and make our internet-based transactions secure, safe, reliable, and trustworthy. This is the challenge to us. And I know hackers are one step ahead of us, but we should always be trying to catch them up and make our system secure. We should also be using our system for social networks, but I do understand that this is also not a very healthy situation oftentimes when we don't follow the code of conduct and the rules and perhaps the laws as well. We happen to be the victim of social media because in the absence of proper laws and enforcement, oftentimes you never know what happens to you through the social media. If somebody is ruthlessly scrolling on you for some estate or some prejudiced interest, if you cannot take somebody to court or to law, then it's better not to go into the social network. This happens to regulators most of the time. I often myself have been the victim of it. Even today, we are victimized through the social media of none of our work that we have mistakenly done. But there is no enforcement, and they have impunity, so they keep on repeating the same thing. And they really discourage the people who work for society. We should not be having this situation to go for long. So if there are some legal gaps to strengthen this service to be more reliable and more trustworthy, we should be doing as government. We are ever ready to work with our colleagues in the ICT and the Internet Society to see that we fix up the things and make use of this ICT facility for betterment of our society, for educating people, for transforming the society and the economy, and also attaining our long-term development goals, which we are embarking on. So with this, I congratulate the organizers for having conducted such a very important workshop. And in particular, the members from neighboring countries or countries all over the world who chose Nepal as the venue to be and also to participate. I also thank you very much for having chosen Kathmandu as the destination of this conference, and the proceedings of this conference should lead us to a better and more trustworthy ICT system. So let's keep the momentum going, and we have all the wishes, best wishes with you. With these few words, let me conclude my remarks. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chief Guest, for your encouraging words. Now we have almost come to the end of the IT conference, and before we go for the formal closing ceremony, I'd like to request Vice President of the Internet Society Nepal Chapter, Mr. Vikram Srestha, for a vote of thanks.
Thank you, Santosh. Respected Chair of the closing ceremony and President Internet Society Nepal Chapter, Mr. Babram Marial. Our Chief Guest of this session, Honorable Dr. Yubaraj Khatiwada, Vice Chairman, National Planning Commission, Mr. Rajneesh Singh, Director of Asia Pacific Bureau of the Internet Society, respected national and international speaker, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. We are about to conclude the conference. I need Kathmandu focus on learning lessons from Nepal, embracing information and communication technology for disaster management. The INET Kathmandu is organized by Internet Society Nepal, Internet Society Asia Pacific Bureau, and hosted by Internet Society Nepal chapter. CAN Federation joined the hands as co-host of the event. Nepal Telecommunication Authority, ISP Association of Nepal, and National Society for Earthquake Technology collaborated significantly on making this event successful. Yes, it's true that hosting the INET Kathmandu is a proud moment for us. This is great opportunity for not only Internet Society Nepal chapter, but for all stakeholders involved in organizing this event in Nepal. I strongly believe that the INET Kathmandu has achieved the expected outcomes, and I want to stress that it is just a beginning, and there is a long way to go forward where we embracing ICT for disaster management. We are very encouraged that the government of Nepal is open to collaborate with other stakeholders to work on this issue. Now, I would like to thank all those who made this INET Kathmandu as a grand success. Thank you all, moderator, speaker, panelists, collaborating partners, officials. The role played by our sponsor is great. Thank goes to Subisu Cable Net, who is platinum sponsor, and Nepal Telecommunication, who is gold sponsor. We appeal all to thank bronze sponsor World Distribution Nepal and Cast Trading, broadcasting partner Himsikar Television, digital media partner ICT Living Magazine, connectivity partner World Web Surfer. Also thanks goes to Hotel Yakineti and all valuable participants. I also sincerely thanks the conference management committee as well as ISAC Nepal Executive Committee members, volunteers, and program official Mr. Bipin Ariel. Finally, special thanks goes to organizer Internet Society Asia Pacific Bureau, Director Mr. Rajnish Singh, and Regional Manager for Chapter Development Mr. Nabil Haq. Similarly, we would like to thank Rahul, Vice President of Internet Society for Global Engagement, Joyce, Director for Chapter Development, and once again I would like to thank all. Thank you. Thank you for being here.